you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Bulldog, and guess what? We have another DAO proposal, another controversial DAO proposal. I'm going to go through, I'm going to talk about what it is, why it's being set forth, and I'm going to give my own personal opinion on this little issue here. So let's dive in. Let's get started because I feel like I've got a lot to say about this one. So here is the proposal. Splinterlands will create a new token that is DEC-B, known as DEC batteries. All right. This is going to be DEC that can only be spent on burn mechanics within the game. So like right now, for example, when you upgrade your buildings, that DEC is burnt. You would be able to use DEC-B instead of DEC in order to go upgrade those buildings. So they want to sell DEC-B at a discount, 20% discount. So the idea is that by buying this DEC-B now, you are basically buying this up front, getting a discount on it, and then that DEC is DEC that is flagged to be burned. Okay? That DEC can only be used on burned items. So essentially what this is doing is trying to help us get back to par value by burning DEC up front. We're flagging this DEC to be burned. You actually burn the DEC to get the DEC-B, so it is being burned early. Burn a lot of this up front so we can get back up to par value. And we give a discount now or to help us get back to par or get closer to par, because that will provide a lot of economic benefits. So when it says, for example, if 10K DEC was required to upgrade a building, this uses the land expansion example. We'll talk about more about some options that DEC is going to be used for. Players will be able to use 10K DEC-B tokens instead of DEC. Since players could purchase that for 0.8 DEC each, then they receive a 20% discount. So you're buying things now in order to get them discounted. So then you will also be able to buy DEC-B with vouchers. You can buy that with vouchers, giving vouchers a little bit more utility. The overall goal of such a system is to incentivize players to burn DEC and or vouchers in the short term in order to gain a discount on future features. Some of the features that we expect to require burning DEC in the future, which could then receive a discount, are land survey potions, guild building and guild alliance building upgrades, maintenance and boosts in the land expansion, future mini editions, so that's the Rift Watcher set, the future equivalent of Rift Watcher set, pending DAO approval, skins, and cosmetics. The proposal is to sell 2 billion of these, 2 billion, which would lock up or burn 1.6 billion DEC. There's currently 6.3 billion DEC in circulation, so by burning 1.6 billion DEC, we could theoretically get to par maybe pretty quickly. And that's going to be a big question for me. We'll come back to this section later about the land survey potions. We're going to talk about that. So the big question is for me is, does this get us to par? Because really what this is doing is actually inflating the amount of DEC available. And I don't know, I understand the concept here, because it could be more valuable for the community to sell things at a discount now so we can get back to that par value and activate what they call the flywheel, where, okay, now we don't have enough DEC. Now in order to mint that DEC, we have to go burn SPS. We burn the SPS, mint the DEC, that helps the SPS price rise. And now we've got some utility for SPS. The utility being you can burn it to get more DEC. Right now that utility is useless because you don't want to burn it for DEC because that's a waste. Whenever you burn it, you just don't get enough right now. That's not worth it. The price of DEC needs to be up for that to be beneficial, okay? And if that happens, I can understand how this can be good, okay? My fear is it's not enough to get us back to par, okay? If it's not enough to get us back to par, then this is basically just inflating that DEC. And you're gonna have people that buy it, not to burn, not to use on any of these, but to sell it to people. So they'll buy it now at a 20% discount, and then they'll just sell it to people later at a 10% discount, and they'll profit off of that. And then instead of other players going and burning the DEC, they'll go buying DEC to go burn it. They'll go buy the DEC-B to burn it because that'll be cheaper because it's more restricted on what you can use it for, right? So we won't be burning as much later. And in the long run, we'll actually get a little inflation from this, or not as much deflation from it. We won't burn things as fast. Okay? We don't necessarily know when this will be here. We don't know how much any of this stuff will cost. So that to me is the risk. If we can get back to par and start needing to burn SPS in order to get more DEC, I absolutely see the benefit. So I see the appeal to this if that works. I'm just worried about the risk that it won't work. I would like to see this, if we're going to do this. I think a must-have for me to vote yes on this, as I start to get into my personal opinion here, this needs to be soulbound. Right now, it's not soulbound. So again, people can just go buy it up and then sell it off later. And then it's the equivalent of DEC. Like, as far as how much is in the system. I feel like if people are going to lock into this, it needs to be soulbound on their account. So if you're wanting to get that discount and buy in earlier, you're not buying it just to sell it to others later when they could be buying DEC. Nobody should be able to go buy this off the secondary market later instead of DEC, because that doesn't help the DEC price. If people want to buy this, they need to lock it into themselves on their account for their own use. That's my own opinion there. I actually like the idea to be able to burn vouchers for DEC, okay? I don't mind that at all. But it also feels a little backwards with this proposal. We're trying to get to par value, but now you can burn vouchers to essentially mint more DEC, which pushes us back the other way. Now it's a pretty small thing. They said, okay, if all of the vouchers, they did the math down here, if all the vouchers were burned, it would only account for 1.2 billion of the 2 billion DEC. I mean, that's still 1.2 billion DEC. That's a lot to add out there. I know it says only. And again, that many vouchers won't be burned. The price of vouchers would skyrocket to the point where it's not worth it. But I'm actually okay with that part, but it kind of, to me, seems a little odd because it flies against what we're actually trying to do here. Okay? I have other problems with this, though, that might not necessarily be relevant and might kind of get into my own personal biases about what I want to see. I'll fully admit I've got a lot of biases here. But let's start with the simple stuff right here. My biggest initial problem reading this that sent up my huge red flags that kind of annoyed me, that probably really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I'm gonna start off with it anyways here, is going back to this post. So this was the post when Splinterlands fired 45% of the team. Okay, and so they were going to focus on delivering. Again, obviously I'm very biased here because I was part of the 45% of that team, and I'm fully admitting that bias. But they said there will be no new games or pre-sales for the foreseeable future. And I actually like this focus on delivering, okay? There will be no new games or pre-sales for the foreseeable future. This is a pre-sale. This is a pre-sale. They are selling discounts for features that are not, for the most part, I mean, they do have guild buildings, but it's very limited. For the most part, they are selling an early buyer discount for features that are not here. We don't know when these features will arrive. We do not know the price of them. This is a pre-sale, and they specifically promised just 1 month ago that there would be no more pre-sales for the foreseeable future. None. There's been too many instances of Splinterlands. Like people right now feel like they can't trust the team and they can't believe what the team says. This doesn't help that. Again, I'm biased. This post is a little personal for me, okay? I will fully admit that. But I can't help but see this and say you just said you weren't going to do any of this. And now you're doing it. Anyways, we'll move on. The other thing is, how much dev work does this require? I don't know. Maybe it's not that much. I'd rather them focus on getting the land out there. The fact that they're wanting to do this pre-sale tells me that the land, the guild buildings, the guild alliance buildings, all this stuff might not really be here all that soon. I don't know how much dev time it takes, how much it takes away from doing the other things, but that's something that I kind of wonder. How much time is being spent on this? I'd rather just go build the other things. And then probably the biggest thing for me is that, and I want to make this very clear before I get into it. So like it talks down here about land potions, land survey potions. Many members are against the idea of extra DEC. I want to make it clear there will be a separate governance proposal for the community to vote on the details of the extra payment option for land surveying. It is not a part of this proposal. So these things right here, none of these things are a part of this proposal. Agreeing to put out DEC-B does not guarantee any of these things. But it kind of does, okay? It kind of does. And I am against a lot of these things. I'm going to talk about which ones I'm against, which ones I like here in just a second. But even though this proposal doesn't actually guarantee those things will come, you can't go sell 2 billion of these and then not use them and not put any use for them. Like there's gonna be some obligation to go give those value down the line. And I don't like some of the things it's giving value to, which makes me not kind of like the DEC-B. And a lot of people will say, and they're probably right, I will admit they were probably right, that this stuff is probably coming regardless, okay? So me not liking this shouldn't really have any impact on there. But like we've seen how that obligation can backfire already before. Like for example, let's look at lands. There was the proposal to start land rewards because it felt obligated to start rewarding the landholders that have bought land 2 years ago and continue to hold. So they started land rewards before the economic benefits of land would arrive. Before things like this that would provide benefits would arrive. I did a video at the time saying I was voting no against it because it was inflation that didn't benefit the economy and it was going to hurt the token price. Well, I think it's contributed in hurting the token price, right? So we've seen how that obligation to past purchasers can hurt the economy when we try to make good on some of those, okay? So that's kind of my fear, where it just gives us more incentive to add these. So why don't I want these? Why do I not want these? Well, first let's talk about the one I actually do like, okay? There's one I like and one I'm okay with. Skins and cosmetics. Overall, I actually do not like lots of DEC sinks. I don't like the primary value of SPS being that you can burn it to get more DEC. So then you throw in lots of DEC sinks, so we need to mint a lot of that, and that gives the SPS value its token. I would rather just give the SPS value its token by making us want SPS. I did a whole video on player state, how SPS player staking is in the white paper, and that needs to come. That makes people want SPS. You need SPS if you want to get your rewards. I'd rather just give the SPS value directly instead of having this whole little wheel and trying to balance burn, the amount that you're burning and all of those things. I like some burn mechanics, but I don't like burn mechanics being the primary driver of value. So skins and cosmetics are some of the small burns that I like, and I like it because they provide no gameplay benefit, and they come at, there's no cost. These are not being sold by players. These would just be burns. You'd get them. They're giving you no benefit in terms of gameplay, that type of thing. Completely optional there. Those are things that I like as sinks. We come up to one I'm okay with: guild building and guild alliance building upgrades. Yes, they do come with a gameplay advantage, which is different than the skins and cosmetics. But first off, these has been established from the very, very beginning that these are DEC sinks, okay? It's been established. That's how it's been from the beginning. And it's not coming at the expense of any other players. Like if these weren't being burned, then they would probably just be going to the team or going to the DAO, okay? It's not things that players are producing. Land survey potions is very different, okay? Because if you add land survey potions, so it's basically potions will be needed to boost the rarity of the reveals, kind of like potions for opening packs. You increase your chance of getting gold foil, increase your chance of getting legendary cards. We've got potions for that, right? They're gonna have the potion equivalents for land. That takes away from the value of land, and people have purchased lands without knowing that you would also need to go buy potions in order to reveal them. Now you don't need to, but you need to, if you know what I mean, right? I don't know when this first came up. I first saw, like, okay, there's not many people who are more tapped into the community than me, right? I was literally community manager for a year. As far as the last year and a half, I kind of know what's going on, right? I first heard about land potions a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. Time does go by kind of fast. Maybe it's been 2 months. Anyways, that's a fairly recent thing. Most people who bought land didn't realize that they also have to go buy potions on top of that. Similar thing with building upgrades, maintenance, and boosts in the land expansion. Land is going to be used to produce item, spells, and SPS. Okay? Those things have so much value. The value, anything that takes away, any extra money that you have to put in order to produce those items, spells, and SPS, just takes away from the land and takes away value from the cards that would be working the land. And I would rather give value to the land, the NFTs, the land, and the cards than have to burn the DEC value. I'd much prefer it go to the land and the cards, especially since, like, we already sold the land. I mean, they've talked about building upgrades and maintenance things before. I would rather drive value to the game than drive value to the DEC token. Okay, I would love to have building upgrades, okay, but I'd love to do it a different way. Instead of burning DEC, what if you earned items in game? What if you earned items in game based on the amount of land you had and the amount of SPS token you had staked on that land? Hey, looky there, we're giving value to the SPS because you want the SPS token to go stake it on the lands, not through this indirect mechanism. Okay, and based on the amount of SPS you have staked on all of your, like, across your land plots or whatever the case is, you can earn building upgrades by playing the game. And then you can go put those on your building. And you can go upgrade them that way. Now I've added a progression mechanic. I've talked before about how I want some more of these progression mechanics. So you have to play the game in order to build up your account, build up your cards, build up your lands. And then you can upgrade them that way. You can still do maintenance by staking car. Like, what if you could, for maintenance, instead of burning DEC, what if you could stake cards that have repair so they can go repair your land? Maybe those cards can't mine the land, but their role is in repairing, whatever the case is. I mean, I'm just kind of throwing random stuff out there, right? But I like that gameplay loop of having to play the game to then earn items for your land that you can then use to upgrade, to produce more items and spells that then go back to playing the game. And I like that. I like the gameplay loop better than just, okay, go burn DEC on it. I don't know. I just don't like I don't like the huge DEC sinks and burning all of those, especially for things, like I said, especially with the land potions, for things that we didn't even know we needed when we bought it, selling us something extra on top of it. And they come down here, they say, we understand that a number of community members are against the idea of an extra DEC payment option to receive increased chances of getting higher rarity and better resources on land when surveying deeds. We feel that implementing the DEC-B concept can help alleviate those concerns while still being able to provide significant new DEC and voucher sinks. I don't understand how this alleviates those concerns. By giving us a 20% discount, it alleviates those concerns. We don't know what the price is anyways. You could build the 20% discount into the price. Like, I'm against it without knowing the price. So making it 20% cheaper of an unknown has absolutely no impact on whether I like land potions or not. I don't understand that reasoning there. Or you can use vouchers on it. Well, you could already convert vouchers to DEC and then use it on it. I guess it gives you a floor value for vouchers. Like I said, I'm actually okay with that voucher conversion, but... And then another one, future mini editions, such as Orbs, Dice, and Rift Watchers. I don't want to burn that. Right now, all the SPS, it's SPS, not DEC. All the SPS spent goes to the DAO. I want it to keep going to the DAO. I don't want it to be burned. Again, if we sell a lot of this DEC-B, it's just going to push incentives to make those burn so people can spend that on there. I want it to go to the DAO. I feel like those funds are going to be critical down the line when the DAO is responsible for funding the play to earn after we stop minting SPS. I don't want to burn it. I want it to go to the DAO. I feel like we're going to need that play to earn loop where the money spent on the mini packs goes back into the play to earn reward pool and things like that. I don't want to burn it. So yes, and as I said before, I feel like a lot of these things, being against these things, or a significant chunk of these things. So I think land's going to be a huge DEC sink. I think even if this proposal fails, I think a lot of these things are coming anyways, okay? I don't like it. I've kind of accepted that I don't like it before. I've almost made a video on it before. How the things seemed like they were trending that way, and I didn't like it, but never did. We pushed it into this video here, but it's probably coming anyways, and this probably doesn't change anything. But even then, I feel like it's too risky. It's going to mean we burn less DEC in the long run. And I do agree that if we can get to par, DEC to par quickly, that's going to benefit the economy some, and it'd be a good trade-off, burning 20% less in order to get to par value now or very soon. But if we don't get to par value, it'll then take us longer in the long run to get to par value, and it'll just be a lot of extra work, a lot of extra confusion for new players, while hurting the economy in the long run. I don't see any reason to take this risk. Okay. Maybe I'm being biased by these other things. Maybe I'm being biased because they promise no new pre-sales. I can see how this can work. I don't see any reason to gamble on it. And I don't know, maybe people have, I'm not an economist running models to see how fast we get to par on certain things. I'm hesitant to believe that this actually gets us to par, and people don't just buy this DEC to get more DEC and then treat it the same way as they currently do DEC, trading it and doing all sorts of other things. And it just inflates the economy. So I don't know. I told you guys I had a lot to rant about. Said in the last video when we were talking about it, Immortalis, I couldn't group this in there because I had too much to talk about. I couldn't just make a short video on this. I had too much. I had too much to get out. But we will see. We will see what happens. There's just too many times. Again, we talked about the land proposal. The TD proposal was kind of a similar thing. They said, let's add SPS to the rewards and it'll help boost tower defense sales, and that'll help us get DEC to peg. It didn't boost DEC. It didn't really boost, maybe a little bit, but it didn't significantly boost TD sales in order to generate a lot of DEC and help us get anywhere near par or anything like that. I just feel like a lot of the things haven't necessarily worked and I don't know. Anyways, that's enough for me. I appreciate anybody who's made it this long through this video of me ranting, but I had to get my thoughts out there. You guys always know I'm going to do that. Anyways, there's a lot more Splinterlands content this week and into the weekend. We're wrapping up the Xbot versus Bulldog contest, human versus bot. I'm currently actually in the lead in rating. I'm still down a little bit in rewards, but I caught up in rating. We have to do a stream on that. There's going to be a final video on that. We're going to talk about, I'm going to have a new strategy guide. I've got an underrated card that I've been using a decent amount that I want to share with you guys. And I want to also talk about the SPS token. I had a bunch of videos planned, and then today we got the new summoner. We got this governance proposal. Wasn't planning on making these videos, so now we're throwing it in the mix. So there is a lot of Splinterlands content coming, even though I'm not doing a lot of live streams this week. We'll catch up next week. There's still a lot of Splinterlands content coming. I will see you guys very shortly with some of that. Thank you so much for watching.